Hello, my name is Dr. Edward Pelote. I'm the president of the Pine Forge Academy Foundation. I have with me today Chaplain Barry Black, who is the graduate of Pine Forge Academy, celebrating his 50 years here at Pine Forge Academy. Pine Forge is also celebrating its 70th year of being here since 1946. Dr. Barry Black is also chaplain of the Senate, and this year we are co-sponsoring the Barry Black Oratorical Contest. And Barry, will you just say a few words on why Oratorical Contest and the oration and the process of oration is so important?
Well, Dr. Pelote, I am just absolutely excited about the Barry Black Oratorical Contest. We had a marvelous time last year with it, seeing some amazing young people communicating almost lyrically. I believe that oratory is important because the power of life and death is in your tongue. Proverbs 18:21. The ability to use words well can change the trajectory of a life, can even change the trajectory of a nation. I think of Lincoln's second inaugural address, amazing address, one of the best ever given. Both sides prayed to the same God, he said about the Civil War conflict. I think of Jack Kennedy's amazing address, let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans. And then, who can forget the I Have a Dream speech and what it did to change the trajectory of a people. So by helping people to discover that gift of oratory, we are giving them the power of life and death that resides in their tongues, at least the ability to activate that. Daniel Webster, the great statesman, once said, "Take away everything I own and leave me my power of oratory, and I'll be fine, because with the oratory I'll get everything back that you took." That's why learning to speak and write effectively is so critical.
Now, there were 5 contestants this year, and could you just speak on what you observed in the oratorical contest that was so significant for these young people, and what you found to be so articulate in the way they expressed themselves?
Well, so many of these contestants were doing this famous speeches of African Americans, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Barack Obama's speech at the Democratic Convention. To see them almost channel these people, I mean, they really were able to get the emotional affect and memorized it so that it became their speech. And so I thought it was a marvelous way of teaching them how to take ideas and make those ideas your own. They were passionate, they were articulate, and they were confident.
Well, I want to thank you for being one of the co-sponsors. You personally have put in some of your funds. You've created the Barry Black Scholarship here at Pine Forge Academy, and you've decided to co-sponsor with us the oration. I think it's important that we give back to the students, but also in their ability to contribute to that in the process of oration. I thought it was spectacular. I thought they did a marvelous job, and I think for us to continue this legacy. So I'm saying today, as you look at the orators today, I want you to be enthused as we were enthused, and thank you, Barry, for being the sponsor of this.
My pleasure. Wow. I can't wait to see the leaders we produce because of the Barry Black Oratorical Contest.
We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace. Proud of our ancient history, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed, and to which we are committed today at home and around the world. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, in order to assure the security and the success of liberty. This much we pledge and more. So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let both sides explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. Let both sides explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. Let both sides seek to invoke in the wonders of science instead of its terrors. Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the desert, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths, and encourage the arts and commerce. Together, let us unite to heed in all the corners of the earth the command of Isaiah, to undo the heavy burdens and to let the oppressed go free. And if a beachhead of corporation may push back the jungle of suspicion, let both sides join in creating a new endeavor, not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just and the weak secure and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than in mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans have been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. The graves of young Americans who answered the call to service surround the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though embattled we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. Can we forge against these, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself? Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? North and south, east and west, will you join in that historic battle? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this country will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us the same high standards of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you, with a good conscience, our only sure reward. With history, the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking his blessings and help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
On behalf of the great state of Illinois, crossroads of a nation, land of Lincoln, let me express my deep gratitude for the privilege of addressing this convention. Tonight is a particular honor for me because, let's face it, my presence on this stage is pretty unlikely. Tonight we gather to affirm the greatness of our nation, not because of the height of our skyscrapers, or the power of our military, or the size of our economy. Our pride is based on a very simple premise, summed up in a declaration made over 200 years ago. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the true genius of America. A faith in simple dreams, an insistence on small miracles, that we can tuck in our children at night and know that they are fed and clothed and safe from harm. That we can say what we think, write what we think, without hearing a sudden knock on the door. That we can have an idea and start our own business without paying a bribe. That we can participate in the political process without fear of retribution. And that our votes will be counted, or at least most of the time. People don't expect government to solve all their problems. But they sense deep in their bones that with just a slight change in priorities, we can make sure that every child in America has a decent shot at life, and that the doors of opportunity remain open to all. They know we can do better, and they want that choice. You know, a while back I met a young man named Seamus in a VFW hall in East Moline, Illinois. He was a good-looking kid, 6'2", 6'3", clear-eyed with an easy smile. He told me he joined the Marines and was heading to Iraq the following week. And as I listened to him explain why he had enlisted, the absolute faith he had in our country and its leaders, his devotion to duty and service, I thought, this young man was all that any of us might ever hope for in a child. But then I asked myself, are we serving Seamus as well as he's serving us? I thought of the 900 men and women, sons and daughters, husbands and wives, friends and neighbors who won't be returning to their own hometowns. I thought of the families I had met who were struggling to get by without a loved one's full income, or whose loved ones had returned with a limb missing or nerve shattered, but lacked long-term health benefits because they were reservists. When we put our young men and women in harm's way, we have a solemn obligation not to fudge the numbers or shade the truth about why they are going, to care for their families while they are gone, to tend to the soldiers upon their return, and to never, ever go to war without enough troops to win the war, secure the peace, and earn the respect of the world. Now let me be clear. Let me be clear. We have real enemies in the world. These enemies must be found, they must be pursued, and they must be defeated. It is that fundamental belief. It is that fundamental belief. I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. It is what allows us to pursue our individual dreams, yet still come together as a single American family. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Now, even as we speak, there are those who are preparing to divide us. The spin masters and negative ad peddlers who embrace the politics of anything goes. Well, tonight I say to them, there's not a liberal America and a conservative America. There's the United States of America. There's not a black America and white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America. The pundits like to slice and dice our country into red states and blue states. Red states for Democrats, blue states for Republicans. But I have news for them too. We worship an awesome God in the blue states. And we don't like federal agents poking around our libraries in the red states. We coach Little League in the blue states, and yes, we've got some gay friends in the red states. There are patriots who opposed the war in Iraq, and there are patriots who supported the war in Iraq. We are one people, all of us pledging allegiance to the stars and the stripes, all of us defending the United States of America. Thank you very much. God bless you.
When I was doing my orations, you wrote your speech and delivered it, and it's a lot easier to memorize something that you have written, but to take what you have been given and in such a short period of time, not only memorize it, but also bring a passion and so much of the spirit of the speech, that was truly remarkable. Marquita is off the chain. I'm sorry, this girl is, I have been underexposed. This is my first time hearing girlfriend sing, and I'm telling you, I've got a new favorite singer. I'm going to shift a little bit and put myself in the same position as the other students. I do remember, by the way, my temperance oratorical speech on alcohol, our inherited foe. But I'm going to pick up on a speech, give myself a speech. Jameer did the last speech of Martin King. I've been to the mountaintop and did a wonderful job. I'd like to, because it's shorter than the one that I gave, we had an 8-minute time limit when I did mine, and just give the last part of Martin King's sermon. Jameer gave the last speech in Memphis. The last sermon was before that, and it was called The Drum Major Instinct. And the peroration or conclusion of that was played at the funeral of Martin King. And he said, every now and then I guess we all stop and think realistically about that day when we will be victimized by what is life's final common denominator. And that's something we call death. We all think about it, and every now and then I think about my own death. And I think about my own funeral. And I don't think about it in a morbid sense. Every now and then I ask myself the question, what it is that I would want said, and I leave the word with you this morning. If any of you are around when it comes my time to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. And tell them not to mention that I've won a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I've won 300 or 400 other awards. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. Because I want somebody to be able to say in that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I want somebody to be able to say in that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want them to be able to say that I did try to feed the hungry. I want them to be able to say that I did try in my life to clothe the naked. I want them to be able to say that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. Yes, I want them to be able to say that I tried to love and to serve humanity. Yes, if you must say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice, say that I was a drum major for truth, say that I was a drum major for righteousness, and all of the other shallow things of life will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have any of the fine, luxurious things of life to leave behind, but I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I've got to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a war song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian, or if I can spread salvation to a world that's wrought, if I can tell the story as the Master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Yes, Lord, I want to be on your right side or your left side, not for any selfish reason. I want to be on your right or your left, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition. I just want to be there in love, in service, in justice. That's where I want to be. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest orators of our time, Chaplain Black. Let's give him another round of applause. Okay. Chaplain Black, I'm going to need you back up here with me, please, sir. We want to thank Chaplain Black for all that he's done, but also Chaplain Black has donated to the first place winner a $2,500 scholarship to Pine Forge Academy.
Yes. Let me say, we didn't have any losers tonight. I just want you to know that right now. So regardless of the order, how that is, that's happenstance. As I sat and listened to each orator, it took me back. And I want you to know that each presentation demonstrated multi-talented gifts, okay? So there are no one-talent orators today. Each of you did remarkably well. And I really believe what my cousin, by the way, Sister Poole, said. She is my biological cousin. That
this gift, this is a gift that God has given each one of you, okay? That this gift can take you places. I grew up eating welfare cheese, okay? My family was evicted don't act like you don't know what welfare cheese is. My family was evicted 3 times before I was 13 years of age. It was my 11th grade oration, which won for the Columbia Union, that enabled me to break out of a cycle of poverty and pathology. And trust me, that God has equipped each one of you orators with a gift. Trust me, I can recognize it when I hear it, okay? And so nurture that gift, okay? Because you get double or nothing, okay? Don't hide it. 2 talents become 4. 4 become 8. 8 becomes 16, okay? You just keep, and eventually, Proverbs chapter 12, 22, 29, show me a person diligent in his or her business, he or she will stand before kings and not ordinary people. God bless this boy from the hood to preach at the White House regularly, to preach at Camp David regularly, and every day the Senate convenes on C-SPAN 2 to offer a prayer. And that started out at 5 years of age, reciting poems. Jimmy had a nickel and Johnny had a dime, for each to spend just as they would to have a happy time. Use the gift, because all I saw tonight were winners.
Our second place winner this evening is Miss Micaiah Davis. Micaiah, not only do you win that trophy, you also win a check for $500.
Since it's my oratory contest, girlfriend nailed that inaugural address, okay? I mean, this is, in my opinion, it is the second greatest inaugural address. Lincoln's second inaugural address, but it was only 17 minutes long. But the passion that you captured, it's one thing to do the words. She captured the let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed. You nailed it, girlfriend. I just want you to know.
And our first place winner this evening is Mr. Joseph Smitty. Mr. Smitty wins not only that trophy, but he wins a check for $1,000 cash. And he wins a scholarship of $2,500 to Pine Forge Academy. Also, just a minute. Now the reigning champion will take home a cup that he will keep for 1 year until the next one. So he will get this cup.
All right.
Can we have all of our participants come up front, please?